I got a text from an old friend today who said, I was watching snowboard cross in the Olympics last night, and I think that's the best event in the Winter Olympics. And didn't you invent that? Um, I started writing out a whole big explanation to him on my history with it, and then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to make a video, and it'll explain it to him and anybody else that's interested, because it's not necessarily ever been properly documented or captured. Um, so the year was 1991, and myself and my then partner, Greg Stump, and some of you know Greg Stump from his amazing ski movies over the years. Greg and I had been friends since we were about 13 years old, competing in freestyle skiing in the East Coast. He was from Maine, and I was from New York, and we were friends and we competed, and we both then aspired to compete at the World Cup level, which we both did. And Greg went on to start making movies, and I went on to become the marketing and creative director at Swatch for a number of years. And while there, Greg and I collaborated on a lot of commercials together and created a lot of really fun content together for the Swatch network. And we also sponsored Greg's movies, which was a really fun thing to do at the time. So years later, we're making a series of segments for a Fox TV show called called the Ultimate Challenge, and our segments were called Greg Stump's World of Extremes. And we hadn't originally meant to have them as part of this Fox show. We had originally had a deal with the folks that made ABC's Wide World of Sports, where we were going to get 10 minutes of the show every week to bring kind of a new modern edge. And at the last minute, that deal fell apart, and the Fox thing was a way for us to go and shoot some of these segments. So we had, I think, a commitment of 8 segments, and we did all the sports that we could think of. We did skateboarding, and we did BMX, and we did surfing, and a bunch of other things. And we got to the end, and we had 2 more to do. So we went for Greg, which was home. We went to Whistler Blackcomb, and we put on an extreme ski event on the Sudan Couloir. And that's out there on YouTube if you want to see it. And then we had 1 more to do, and we were kind of stuck. And I said to Greg, I have this idea that I thought about years ago, originally for skiers, but I think it might work really well for snowboarders. And I explained it to him and kind of drew it out on a napkin. And we went and we pitched it to a fellow called Rob McSkimmings, who was running the on-hill events and things at Blackcomb. And he said, yeah, we're in. What do you need? And they put up some money so we could have some prize money, and they gave us cat time. And I flew back down to Los Angeles. I had to go down for a couple of days. And Greg took the napkin and gave it to him, and he got him working on the course. And I flew back up, and I got there, and it was like the Stonehenge moment in Spinal Tap, in that they kind of got the scale wrong. And this was built right above the Rendezvous Lodge at the top of Blackcomb. And it was only about 300 feet long. And it kind of looked like something you'd get on trays from the cafeteria on and race on. So unfortunately, I said, that's not quite it. I think we're going to have to start over. And everybody was great about it. And we went over to the hill where they now have the terrain park at Blackcomb. And the first thing I did was take a run down on my board and just kind of lay a line down. And from there, staked it out, and then worked straight through the night with a really awesome cat driver trying to push berms and bank turns, which nobody had really much experience around, as well as jumps. And eventually we had a course, and We had a ton of riders up there because it was late spring, and that was a great place for snowboarders to be. And with a 1 day delay from weather, we were able to finally put it on, and we filmed it, and it ran on Fox on a Friday night. And I'm not sure anybody ever saw it there, but it was because of places like MTV, who then licensed the footage from us, and other places where it started to show up that people started to see it. And I started getting calls. There was a guy in California who wanted to put on some events, and I was living in Los Angeles at the time, so I went up and I helped design the courses for those. And then I got a call from the folks putting on the West Beach Classic. Jay Ballmer said we're wanting to include BoarderCross in this year's West Beach Classic, and Jay built a really awesome course and went up there and helped out, and Jay and I became friends, and years later I was able to hire him into Electronic Arts with the idea of building a skateboard game, and he eventually led the team that delivered the amazing skate game at EA. Actually, the best thing about that was seeing Terje ride BoarderCross for the first time. There was a triple jump that everybody thought was a double, except Terje. And just watching him ride that course the way it was designed was just amazing. So, starting to catch on slowly. A guy from Australia had contacted me. I had sent him down our one pager on rules. And Eric Kalassis, a guy who I had known for a long time, who had been a freestyle skier at the same time I was, and a great guy and a really smart guy at figuring out how to create events and things, said that he was interested in putting on a BoarderCross series, and that led to the birth of what became the Kokanee Cross series. And I had owned the trademark on the name BoarderCross, and the only reason why I had actually even trademarked it was as a freestyle skier, I had grown really wary of the FIS, and really didn't want them taking hold of BoarderCross early on, and just wanted to make sure that when people did events and wanted to call it a BoarderCross, that they had a set of rules and some ideas around how to do it safely and not turn it into a fiasco. I can remember one guy who owned a very well-known snowboard company at the time said, "Yeah, it'd be amazing if we could get a shark tank on the hill and have a jump over the shark tank." No shark tank, thankfully. So anyway, that was really my involvement. And it was people like Eric that took it to the next level with the Kokanee Cross series, and then the International Swatch series, and then the riders, the amazing riders that just kept taking it up a notch and taking it up a notch, and the amazing course builders who were figuring out how to evolve course design and just keep making it better and better. And then eventually, I remember in 2006 sitting at home in West Vancouver and watching the race live from Torino, Italy, and sitting there by myself watching this thing and just tearing up and just thinking, wow, look at what this has become. And then being there live in 2010 up on Cyprus at the Vancouver Olympic Games, being at the bottom when local Maël Ricker crossed the finish first, and being able to see that, and all the people there, and to see it realize its possibilities and potential. And then just last night watching it in the Olympics that are currently going on, seeing all these riders from all over the world and all sorts of European countries I never really thought about as being powerhouses in snowboarding. And My wife actually made the most telling comment of all, which was right there from the very, very first run that we did at Blackcomb, which was when the people got to the bottom of the hill, the riders, the first thing they did was they were high-fiving each other and they were laughing and they were smiling and they were having a good time. And that was what was at the genesis of the idea originally, to be able to have an event where people could go head to head. And even back then I was thinking, could you have an event where people with hard boots could race against people with soft boots, and it would be kind of a level playing field. But we saw it last night. Intense, intense competition on the course, yet when they cross the finish and they're there at the end, they're all so energized, so much adrenaline pumping through them, but they're smiling. They had had a good time, and that was border cross, and I guess they call it snowboard cross now because we wouldn't let the FISC call it border cross, so maybe I was a dummy for doing that. But anyway, that's the story, and I hope it stays around for a while, and I hope it continues to be something that challenges riders and spectators enjoy. That's it.